going on, everybody? It's Fandom Empire Live, March the 22nd, 2022. We got an interesting show in store for you guys and gals tonight. First ever Halloween draft. And I got to be honest, the idea, even though we hadn't talked about it recently, kind of comes from Kieran. I seem to remember you doing I think it was a Star Wars draft on your old Star Wars podcast. Did you not? Or am I misremembering?
Yeah, no, me and Cosma used to do a Star Wars podcast, and we did a draft almost every week. Like, we did one quite often. We drafted, like, Jedi councils and clone trooper teams and all sorts of stuff. And it was always very fun.
Nice. Good shit. It's going to be interesting. I know I have a few picks in store tonight that I think will get me to the finish line. By the way, once our teams are drafted, I will go into making some graphics tomorrow for us, and then they will be put out on our Facebook and Twitter, and people will be able to vote on which team they like the best. Joining us tonight, you just heard from Kieran. What's going on, Johnny? What's happening, man?
Let's try that. Just the way I like Johnny.
Wow. Wow, that's just rude.
That was good.
No, I was rude.
It was well timed.
No, it was horribly timed. I did a whole thing. It was fun. It was awesome. And now you guys will never hear what I said. The compliments I had for you, just now you're not getting them.
Right. Right.
No, I've been enjoying it. You know, I've been playing the crap out of WWE 2K22. Just, yeah, I've been enjoying the crap out of that mode, that game.
Good stuff. Tommy B, what's happening with you, man?
I'm here. And you know what else? You know what else is going to happen?
What's that?
I'm going to find a way to lose this draft. Can you lose a draft? Because that's probably what's going to happen here.
I mean, you can draft a horrible team.
So we got.
But do I look like I know what a draft is? Because the answer is no. I don't fucking know.
I mean, there's different kinds of drafts, you know? There's the beer, there's the World War, and there's the professional sports ones. And fantasy.
Surely you were talking about the sports one.
Well, I hope so. Anyways, we're going to talk a little bit about Halloween Ends off the top. Tommy and I did a video on the weekend. Some interesting rumors coming out of there. Again, I can't even call them spoilers because they really are strictly rumor and speculation at this point. But I'm curious to hear Kieran and Johnny's take on it and see where they fall on it. We have some supernatural news. That's right. Well, sorry. Pardon me. I think the show is called The Winchesters. But it might as well be Supernatural, The Winchester. We have some Game of Thrones House of the Dragon speculation. Sounds like we're about to get a release date announced any day now. We have some Kenobi spoilers. And then obviously we have the Halloween draft, which will come in not too long from now. Sorry, just getting distracted by the chat.
Is it chat?
There's a chat. Last time I checked, apparently. Apparently so. Let's start off with this, guys. I've seen this going around a lot online. This was not in the show notes, but obviously we got a lot of movies with Hugh Jackman as Wolverine / Logan. Like a lot. Some are good, some are not. He's good in basically all of them. Are you guys ready to see someone else in the role of Wolverine, or do you still need more time away from the character live action on screen? or can you adapt to someone new now? I'm really torn with this one because, like, I always thought they'd get him back for at least one or two more, and I don't know. It sounds like he's sticking to his guns.
I've been ready for a new Wolverine for quite a while. Hugh Jackman has been great in the role. Like I don't have anything against the way that he did it, but it's not really like he made his own thing. He played Wolverine his own way. Wolverine was changed so much in those movies to where he was like the leader of the X-Men. He never like he freaks out, but he's also very like tactically strong and he's the central focus of the movies quite often because he's the most popular character. But in the comics, just because he was the most popular character doesn't mean he got to do everything. There was several times when he didn't even really need to be involved in the story. So I would love to see them go back to where Wolverine was pre maybe around the 1990s in the comics, where he had his own comic and he was a good run, but like he was a part of the team, not the most important part of the team. He also lost his mind a few times and would go berserk and need someone else to help him. And you know, this version of Wolverine went berserk, but not in the same way. You know, like he didn't have any faults. He just seemed to be invincible, amazing, and you know, like it's not really like it was fun and it was good, but like it's not really Wolverine. Like it's not, he didn't really portray Wolverine the way the character was until he got the role. And yeah, a great character, but wasn't really the essence of Wolverine, to be honest. So I would love to see someone else do it and wear a fucking mask every once in a while.
I mean, I can't.
Once.
Yeah, I can't disagree with anything Kieran said. You know how infrequently that happens. I mean, he's right. I mean, Wolverine is not he's not a leader of anything. I mean, he's a member of a lot of teams, but you know, there's no teams where he's the guy. I mean, not even, you know, X-Force or any of the other, you know, teams he's a part of. He's just a member of the team, and that's what was lost in the X-Men universe we've had so far. The X-Men are a team, and they tried to make it about individual players, you know, and that just didn't
The
work.
latter three movies did a better job of showing a more team atmosphere.
Well, they had to, because they were, you know, they were origin stories. No, they were originals. They were meant to be things, whereas the, you know, the X-Men movies that started this whole thing off, you pushed forward specific characters, you know, in ways that they really never should have been. And you know, they were good, you know, they were good interpretations, good stories, good characters, but they weren't really X-Men, you know. Like, I mean, yes, okay, you know, Xavier and Magneto were pretty authentic. It's kind of hard to screw up those characters, but you know, outside of Storm is probably the most comic authentic X-Men team member in the whole franchise. I mean, you know, Cyclops turned, it's hard to say with Cyclops because, you know, he is both a leader and a whiny bitch. All we saw was the whiny bitch. No, we never got to see Cyclops, the leader of the X-Men, you know, and that's something that, you know, we kind of lost. You know, he just turned him into a, you know, I mean, I hate saying this, but they turned him into a simpering cuck. You know, like he's the third man in the love triangle, and everybody just, woe is me, my life is so. It was horrible. You know, Cyclops comic version would just be like, fine, I'll go find Emma Frost and have a kid who's going to rule the world in 100 years. You know, like the Cyclops and Jean Grey love story was made to be the, you know, God, if you know soap operas, you'll understand the reference. If you don't, you'll just think I'm weird. But Cyclops and Jean Grey was made to be the Luke and Laura of the X-Men universe, and they're not. You know, they're an occasional couple. They come together every now and again. Yeah, they come together frequently, but you know, they're not the couple the X-Men universe is built around. You know, and that's what they did with this franchise. They tried to make it a love story. They tried to make Romeo and Juliet out of the X-Men universe, and it just got stupid.
And once again, I agree with most of what Johnny says, which is just, I don't know what's happening here.
Comic books, Kieran, it's a topic we can agree on.
I suppose you're right. That could be it.
Tommy, do you have any attachment to the X-Men movies? Have you even seen them all yet, or no?
I mean, if someone hasn't seen them all yet, are they really going to necessarily see them by this point? I guess
It depends on what you mean by all. I skipped most of the Wolverine solo movies.
Well, there you go. There you go. Look, I've seen enough to know that what these two guys are saying is basically correct. Well, I don't know about basically, maybe just straight out correct. As far as the X-Men going into the MCU, I do think that I would like to see things done in a more traditional way, which isn't always how the MCU goes for it. But just thinking, you know, what the X-Men franchise is coming off of versus what, you know, could.
It's the same fucking position last week.
It's always that
It's the-
position.
It's the exact same position every time he does it.
The camera always waits till he does something with his hand.
If Tommy ever quits this podcast, we should just replace him with a picture of him doing this.
Tommy's not here this week. In his place, here's this cardboard cutout of him doing a thing with his hands.
I'm getting ready to fucking break my internet connection.
Just have a little chat bubble coming up saying, "I guess I'll go fuck myself."
That's the chat bubble above the just like, and then it can say that.
Yeah.
Here's an idea. If you impersonate other people and you get caught, you will be removed. Just a thought. Just a thought. John Paul Carr over on the Facebook page asks, by the way, Q&A show too, guys. So if you guys want to change the topic at any point, feel free to do so. You don't need to send in a super chat. If you want to, that's great. Google will take half of it, but the number one way you can support the channel is patreon.com/Fandom Empire. Are they going to make more Superman movies?
Yes.
I mean, eventually,
How
obviously.
about please no?
That's a no-brainer that it will eventually happen. But I have no idea if it'll happen anytime soon.
Yes, I mean it'll definitely happen soon. I'd say probably within the next decade. We'll
Oh,
definitely
okay,
have.
well, that's I don't know if that's soon.
I mean, in film, I'd say it is. I mean,
I think the question here is, does Cavill make another one?
No, I don't think he does.
Cavill's not the problem.
No, he's definitely not.
The problem is the writing. You know, like I mean, I've said this right from the jump, from the very beginning, from the time Man of Steel ended. I knew there was no saving that universe. You took the Boy Scout, you know, the truth, justice, and the American way, and you turned him into a murderer before the end of the first movie. Like, what? I mean, you can play fast and loose with the Batman mythos, and, you know, does he actually kill people? Maybe, kinda. Eventually, he might. But Superman? No, sir. That's not... No. No bueno. There was no coming back from that.
It makes sense. I think they get Superman wrong every time because he's the only superhero who doesn't really need a villain. He needs a conundrum. He needs to have the best Superman stories are where he has to make a difficult choice. You know, like make the Spider-Man choice, save people or save my girlfriend, that sort of thing.
I mean, I think the simplest answer for a good Superman movie is out there in just it can't be an origin story because the origin of Superman is boring. You know, like Smallville proved that by kind of adapting the origin story and making it interesting, Whereas, traditionally Superman's mythology is that he had a good childhood raised by two parents on a farm in Kansas. That's Superman's origin story. He
I
doesn't
bet
have
anyone in Kansas would tell you that's fucking boring.
he doesn't have the tragic backstory of Batman or any of the other multitude of superheroes. He just lived a life on a Kansas farm. It's pretty boring. And let's be honest, Smallville did the best Superman origin story we're ever going to get, because they told the boring farm story while incorporating, superhero villain of the week in a fun and interesting way. But to me, the best Superman movie you could probably tell is mid-canon, back end of canon, President Lex Luthor. The ultimate supervillain is the president of the most powerful country in the world, in their own eyes. And Superman sees the truth. He knows he's a villain and has to prove it to the American people.
The only way I'd ever want to see that story is if it was done in the vein of what they just did for the Batman, something that's dark and gritty, and like you can actually have Lex Luthor be menacing and
I mean, Superman can't be dark and gritty.
I was gonna say you can't. That's not a fair comparison. You can't do that.
Yeah.
It won't work. Superman is colorful and bright,
but that doesn't mean the story that he's surrounded in.
No, I'm not.
I don't mean Superman the character. I mean the movie.
I'm not saying that you're wrong. Like, the character of Lex Luthor can be more dark and visceral. I guess is probably the most accurate word. Cerebral. Like, you don't want dark and moody. Like, that's the thing. Like, they tried to make Man of Steel like a Batman movie. They tried to make it dark and gritty and moody, and that doesn't work.
I thought Superman Man of Steel was great.
Well, you're wrong. It's awful.
No, I think it's great. I think it's a great fucking movie. I think it's one. I
like the start of that movie. I thought it was going somewhere. I didn't really care for.
And then the last act happened, and it just went off the rails. You're right.
Yeah, Superman snapping that guy's neck was pretty un-Superman-like.
It's anti-Superman. Like, the only way I could tolerate that is if you get to the end of the movie, and then you reveal that that's Bizarro. Like, you play that out, like, you do like a mid-movie switch where Superman is swapped with Bizarro, and in that back half makes a whole lot more sense.
I liked Zod, and I liked the score, and I liked when they had the Russell Crowe stuff at the start. Like, I liked a lot of that, and I thought it was going somewhere. I really enjoyed some of the visuals of seeing him grow up, and like I liked a lot of where it was going. And then the second half of the movie was just Superman bludgeoning people, and it was like, that doesn't happen.
It was super bad, and it was awful.
Just Superman doesn't do that stuff. Superman could almost always kill his enemies. Almost always. If Superman gets angry, he could like pound almost any character in any universe. But he never does. He figures a way around it. He
disables you.
He figures out a morally, like, his moral compass is his most important attribute of the character. If you don't get that part right, then you didn't do a good Superman movie.
We'll have to do a Superman stream another time, and actually do something centered where we can just talk for an hour about Superman. So,
if we keep talking a lot and we get lots of questions, we won't have to do this damn draft.
Weren't you the one that said, and I quote, "Oh, that's a fun idea"?
I did, but then I realized how bad I would be at this draft.
Yeah.
Like, you guys are going to be like, oh, I want so-and-so, and I want so-and-so. And I'm going to be like, I'll take the cop in number 4.
you mean Sean will be like that with, naming characters and intricate scenes that they were in. And I mean, I can limp through a draft.
I'll take the guy who got stabbed by a gardening tool.
Mostly
cool.
because I have a Wikipedia list of Halloween franchise characters that I can, consult as needed.
Well, it's funny
the entire draft.
Bring up Halloween because let's touch on that quickly here. Let's talk about Halloween Ends. So now that filming has wrapped, there's certainly a lot more coming out about Halloween Ends, and your general public that goes for spoilers, give it another month and I'm sure everything will be out there. The film, you can really start to piece together what's going on, and one of the places that's important to the film, and isn't just a place in passing, but rather a pretty big part of the B plot of the movie, is Glass Hill. Now, Glass Hill, you guys got to think back to really early in Halloween 2018. Sartain tells the podcasters that Glass Hill is the pit of hell, like to the point where it's worse than Smith Grove type place. So when you think Glass Hill, think big picture, think some really fucked up stuff. And I can tell you one sequence that's out there a lot. I've already seen it on Reddit too. So some stuff is really starting to leak. There's a pretty gnarly death sequence right outside of Glass Hill, and I won't say any more than that. On the Glass Hill front for Halloween Ends, I do like that there's that it's going to take a big chunk of the B plot of the movie, that it's not just the Michael Myers thing. It actually kind of, like, I'm not saying that it's the Mark of Thorn or anything like that. But it does feel like there's some slight nods to those stories 4, 5, and 6 in this last movie here. The interesting thing I've heard speculated, anyways. Again, this is simply rumor, speculation, conjecture. What do you guys think of the idea that if the first Halloween TV series ends up being about Glass Hill? We know they've already had discussions about doing something for Peacock. So what if they did something in the vein of the American Horror Story, where you have Glass Hill and all these, unique patients with backstories, and obviously it wouldn't be a Michael Myers show, but you could spin this show off of the Halloween universe. You already sort of lay the groundwork in Halloween Ends. I like the idea of doing something dark and gritty. Something, I don't know if you guys seen the movie Shutter Island.
Yep.
That's one thing that comes to mind, is something sort of like that, but with Glass Hill. I would be on board, having either each season tells a different story or each episode tells a different story. What do you guys think of that as a Halloween spinoff? I know most people might be, against it if it's not Michael Myers centric. But I kind of like the idea. They've set themselves up in a position here to do something if they so choose. Thoughts, gentlemen?
I mean, I think a Halloween TV series is a tough nut to crack, because it can't really be about Michael. Just because that's too much of a thing. They could tell a specific subset of stories, but I think the idea of establishing this this Glass Hill, this pit of depravity, this pit of hell where all of the darkness resides, it could be very interesting in a an anthology type series, even if it's not strictly set inside that location. With an anthology series, I think it would be interesting if you sort of, had a part of the series take place in this facility where you're introduced to the characters in the present, and then you kind of go backwards to tell the stories of how they got there. I think would be really fun and interesting, so that you can avoid Michael, or even if you have him there as sort of like another denizen of the pit that they're telling their stories to, type thing, that he just never answers them because he doesn't talk. But it would be interesting, I think, to tell a story that way inside the universe without involving Michael outside of the outskirts.
Tommy, Kieran, could you go for this concept, or does it have to be Michael Myers?
I mean, it wouldn't attract me to the show based on the fact that it was in the Halloween universe, because the Halloween universe is Michael Myers. It can't involve Loomis if it's current, right?
Well, it doesn't necessarily mean it's current. You might be going through the history of the place.
I mean, if they could somehow fit Loomis in there or other characters, but like, I mean, if it's just a place that is, on the same Earth, the same version of Earth, then that means nothing to me because it's a completely realistic, like their Earth is our Earth. It's not any interesting. There's no, it's not like a dystopian, whatever. Like it's not. It doesn't matter. So. Having a horror TV show set in an insane asylum would be great. But like it's that the Halloween universe does nothing for me. So, I mean, if Mike Bish came on and said, "Hey, this show is fucking awesome," I'd check it out. If Tommy comes on and says that show is a piece of shit, I probably wouldn't watch it. So, Halloween universe just doesn't really. It's not a universe, really. It's the same universe we live in. It's not like the MCU where you can be like, we're not going to have any of the superheroes from the movies, but it takes place in the same, land as Stark Technologies, and superheroes are out there, and like places and things like that can kind of.
You just describe damage control.
Yeah, or Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which had couple small cameos, but
well, I mean, you had functioning superheroes as members of the team. I mean, Quake was there for the entire run. Yeah, but none of the ones from the movies. Just they had Deathlock, which was only there from their show, and I know Sif Quake was in the first season, but she's not really a big deal. Quake was there the whole run,
but not in a movie, though, right?
No.
Like they didn't borrow characters. They didn't really borrow characters from the movies. It was just set in the universe. But there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things about the Marvel universe that are different.
Tommy, we touched on the weekend briefly, but how would you feel about if this hits right, using it as a loose Halloween spinoff? And again, this isn't just something that I've cooked up myself. This was suggested to me, and then I thought about it and some of the things I know about Glass Hill, and I mean, until you see something visually and how it plays out and how it feels, and like that's a big thing with movies is how something feels to you. You don't know, but like conceptually speaking, I'm okay with the idea. How about you, Tommy?
Number one, I just think we need to eventually get around to laying down some ground rules as to whether or not we're open to discussing if Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fits into the MCU canon, because I feel like that itself is like a war that blood is constantly spilled over, and I just don't think we should do that as a side conversation on a stream, because we'll be here all day and all night. Having said that, I would totally go for a series like this. Again, it can't be about Michael Myers, because then you have to make Michael Myers out to being something so much bigger, unless, you frame it in like a limited series of sorts, and you're talking about like a specific incident or a period of time. That's really what you gotta go with. It'd be interesting to see a series of other characters, other slashers, theatrical facilities, with the same amount of supervision as Michael or what have you.
Our buddy Ty brings up a good point. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is not part of the MCU. It'd be placed in the multiverse. He is correct with that one.
It was originally designed to be part, and then they were like, eh.
So they definitely played it up that way, but it's a Kevin Feige thing. He didn't want it to have anything to do with doing.
All right, good friends at ABC for that.
Let's they have a lot to handle at the moment. If you haven't seen,
I mean, you could say it's not part of the MCU, but just having Coulson in it in the beginning was like, okay, well, that's what they intended.
Tied in directly to the events of Sokovia.
That's what they intended to do, and then now, it's pretty much the same thing as Daredevil. Wasn't like it's the reverse. Daredevil was never meant to be part of the MCU. And
well, it was, but it wasn't, right? Because they made, the Battle of New York was a big part of.
Yeah, they reference
the storyline.
You in Daredevil.
Yeah, but we always knew, like, it was said, like, all the time in the beginning, like, it's not part of it. They're never going to be in the movies. It's not going to whatever. And then all of a sudden they were like, well, we could buy this and put this on Disney Plus now. And, and then we saw Daredevil.
Well, they
and
always
Spider-Man
owned
movie.
it. Let's
Yeah, I
not
was gonna
forget
say
that
they
Disney
always
Plus
owned
wasn't
it.
a thing when this started.
Yeah. No, it wasn't supposed to be part of the MCU when it started. It definitely wasn't. But
I think it
don't
was
know.
always supposed to be part of the MCU, just not in the way.
I don't think they ever considered crossover potential between the. I mean, look at the shit they're already getting for some of the mature content that they're putting on there, even behind. I guess for us, it's like the Star thing, but for people in the States, it's something else. On the Disney Plus app, but like they're already getting shit for some of the titles they're putting up there. So I don't know. Let's keep this thing rolling though. Tommy's right. We are tight on time, and Jer's already in the green room. Supernatural. Holy fuck! It feels good to talk about this. Johnny, I sent you a brief little article from Deadline. There's some pretty exciting news out there. You want to just give that little article a read?
Well, I'll break it down because it really doesn't tell us anything more than who has been cast to play the roles of Mary and John Winchester. We didn't go with.
Wait, hang on. Did I send you the one that has a few of the story beats to it?
No, I mean, nothing more that we didn't already know about their history. I guess is what I'm saying. The big hits are Mary and John have been cast. Meg Donnelly, who is a veteran of Disney, she's in a couple of the Disney movies and TV series. Meg Donnelly has been cast to play Mary, and Drake Roger, who has a very, very small portfolio, most known for The In-Between, which I have no idea what that even is, has been cast to play John. They're confirming the timeline, which is right after Mary's 19.
Yep.
And John is freshly returned from Vietnam, which established timeline doesn't track in my mind.
Yeah, no, it does. She's younger
John
than
was
he is.
that much older than Mary.
I think he's got 6 or 7 years on her for sure. And I'm not surprised. I'm not saying this guy got cast just from his looks, but he looks like the love child of Jared Padalecki and Jensen Ackles. Like, fuck. Like, you see it in the face. I mean, if the guy can act, that's the most important thing. And if he can't, then, well, we're fucked.
I mean,
Did it say when they're getting ready to shoot the pilot? I feel like
I don't
it's...
think Supernatural was
don't think
built
so.
on acting anyways. Like, if he's a
Not either.
decent actor, that'd be okay. I don't think he needs to be like an amazing dramatic actor.
Oh, we lost Tommy.
Yeah, I don't see anything about the pilot shooting.
I think that I read that the pilot was intending to shoot early summer, and that the goal was basically this time next year they might launch something. It doesn't sound like it's going to be like a if it gets picked up. I don't think their goal here is like 20 plus episode seasons. I think they're looking for the 10 episode sweet spot. So thoughts, Johnny? You're a longtime Supernatural fan, man.
I'm a day one OG. It's a pickle for me because, quite honestly, I really don't have much interest in John and Mary's story because it's a young adult drama. You know, Mary's given up hunting for John, who's just come back from Vietnam. This isn't, to me, it's not a supernatural story. Like, unless they want to just change the entire canon.
No, there's going to be some canon changing things for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, they'd have to change it in a massive way for this to be, supernatural, which they could. There's
an episode where they go and fucking hunt with Scooby-Doo. I'm pretty sure they can. Oh, shucks.
Which is
John
exactly what I'm saying. Like,
Discovery.
unless they establish very early on, like, the weird part is that this is meant to be Dean telling the story.
Yes.
Who's he telling the story to? Is what I'm interested in knowing, because there's nobody, like, unless he's telling it to oh god, what was the kid's name? I can't remember the kid.
Dean.
No.
Yeah.
Dean's telling the story. Who's he telling the story to?
No. I meant Little Dean,
Yes. What?
Sam's kid.
Dean's dead.
Yeah, but anything could have happened in that amount of time.
Either way, I don't. Unless you
Spoilers, I'm only
change-
on season 1.
Unless you change the story in such a way that it puts this in one of those either, mirror universes, or you change the canon in a way that makes the story fun, that they're going to be, hunting things and, stuff that makes supernatural, we're just going to end up with Riverdale, and I already don't watch Riverdale. So I don't need another one of those.
They just wait. It's all good.
I didn't hear any of that.
Yeah, I think he's getting fed up with his connection issues.
He's plotting his escape from the draft. He just doesn't want to admit it.
I don't know anything about Supernatural, so I just started opening up action figures. This guy's gonna play Joker.
I'm excited for more like just stuff in the Supernatural universe. However, I like you do run the risk of like kind of tainting these things, and all it takes is 1 or 2 horrendous seasons of this, and you might kill any chance at anything more down the line.
I guess
Hopefully that's not
the
case.
thing for me that, I look back and be like, this doesn't track for me is we've already sort of seen this story in one sort of parallel. You had the episodes where Dean went back in time, convinced John to buy the Impala, and, deal with Mary in that way. And it just, I don't, like I said, unless we get like a young adult drama thing, I'm not interested in that. And to make it supernatural, you have to diverge from the canon in a massive way, which can be done. It just, I don't know. I mean, I'll see it, but I'm not, I mean, this is what the 4th spin-off attempt at this point. Like, just because you have, Jensen on board doesn't mean this is going to be anything good.
Well, it's not just having Jensen on board; it's his idea. Like he's the one that has brought this to the table. It's probably why it's more than likely, unless it's just horrendous, going to be picked up for at least a season.
I don't know that it will. I think they'll just see it. I would not be surprised if they just see it through the pilot and just pass.
I will disagree. I'll take the positive side. I won't be party pooper Johnny. All right, let's keep the ball.
I'm on the positive side. Keep the canon authentic and real, and don't pee in the pool.
You and your fucking cat. All right, let's keep this ball rolling. Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon. There's so much going on social media with it right now. Lots of speculation. I guess there was a report a few weeks ago that someone thought the show was still going to air in April. That's definitely not going to happen. Remember, the show has way more dragons and requires way more special effects than what Game of Thrones did at any point in time. So these things are going to take a little bit to get out. As far as I know, and from what I've heard, and it sounds like this is online now too, it sounds like it's going to debut sometime in late summer or early fall. Johnny, correct me if I'm wrong. Kieran, you might even know this one. Didn't Game of Thrones have one of typically they were April releases, I feel, but wasn't one of the
one year
seasons-
was August.
Yeah, it was like late August, right before Labor Day, I think.
I remember being early August, so
Was it?
I don't know. I remember being around your birthday one year.
So, do we care about an April release? I don't. Just make the show good.
Yep, that's 100%. Just make it good.
I mean,
I got there's plenty of shit on TV to watch until it comes out. Like, just make it good.
All Tommy, we lost you during the Supernatural talk, so I'll give you two at once here. One, any excitement at all for the Supernatural prequel? It seems to be gaining some steam. And holy fuck, you guys are party poopers tonight. Jeez.
I might watch it, but no, not really. This is the spinoff I didn't want, really.
You know, I hear a lot of people saying that. It makes me wonder what spinoff people.
I'm proven wrong.
It was season 7, and it was mid-July.
I remember one time waiting and being like, "What the fuck? It's supposed to happen. Like it's supposed to happen now."
I just did a quick search. Every season except 7 started in April. 7 was the only, with the premiere on July 16th. Season ending August 27th.
Yeah, even like that might be even too soon for this. So
it's not surprising. I mean, this series is literally in the ancient times. There are dragons walking around like it's common.
yeah,
You know, unlike where Game of Thrones, you only had maybe 2 or 3 episodes a season with dragons. This one has every episode with dragons. Like, yeah.
Moon Knight's gonna come out any day now, and
Yep.
and that's gonna take us 2 months to get through. So
It's either this, I think it's next Wednesday, right?
I guess if it's a Wednesday release, it's probably would have to be because
I don't know. Don't get me started on Disney Plus right now. I'm still pissed off with them.
Speaking
Why?
of streaming services,
Why? Because they made me wait 2 months as a Canadian to start putting up How I Met Your Father. And instead of putting up the whole season, which had already finished in the US, they're putting it out weekly?
oh yeah, I don't care. about
Trash.
that. I liked How I Met Your Mother, but I'm not really that interested in this series. So
It's already better than how the series ended.
endings are hard. We've learned this.
But,
Here's a question for our Canadian viewers and myself too. What the hell do we get to watch this on? Because it's Game of Thrones House of the Dragon is an HBO Max show.
It'll be on Crave.
Will it be on Crave? Because
Everything else that's been an HBO Max exclusive has been on Crave. And just like that was on Crave, that's the Sex and the City follow-up. That's on Crave.
all
was
the shows have been.
Yeah,
only
anything that's been an
difference is-
HBO Max exclusive has been on Crave in Canada.
Oh.
The only difference is movies, but like in the last little while, movies have been weird between the US and us, who's open and who's not open, and yeah. But series,
The only
I
thing
think
we
they've
didn't
all,
get,
the
like,
series have all been on Crave, right?
I don't think there's any series that or it hasn't been available on one of the other. So because I know there's been a couple of HBO Max series that actually have aired on cable, but they've all been available in Canada either through Crave or some other distribution avenue, and I'm fairly certain that House of the Dragon will be on Crave, no question.
Fingers crossed. I hope so. Wouldn't want to have to get it through other means. I want to watch it legit. So, alrighty, let's keep the ball rolling. Tommy B's back. He's ready to just. Oh, I think I know what Tommy B did. He just said, "Fuck it." I think if I actually, I don't even know if he's there now. There he is. You switched to your phone, didn't you?
No, this is the
Laptop.
internal camera.
Oh, okay.
Internal
Yeah, I don't know
camera.
why my camera might like really be breaking now. So cool.
That's a camera issue. Not an internet. I thought it was an internet issue.
Long story short, yeah, well, the internet issue's still there. Don't you worry about that. No, this camera would always shut off. After 45 to 50 minutes, if I fucking blipped, I'm gonna throw this fucking computer.
You already did, buddy.
You just did.
Oh my god.
Has anybody seen the newest season of Curb Your Enthusiasm?
No.
Okay, so
The fucking show is still on.
the basis of the show is he wants to do a show about the younger him. And I'm just looking at Tommy now and the glasses and the build, and Tommy could totally play young Larry David. I see it. That's a good thing.
I think you mentioned that before.
Did I?
You can just see the unmitigated anger in Tommy's face right there. Like it just like I'm just like waiting for the heat vision to just shoot out of the eyes. Like, oh man. I can't tell if he's frozen right now. He was frozen.
I hate StreamYards. I really do, because I have no issue with Zoom calls.
Melissa asks, any same cast from the original Supernatural coming back? Well, we
Jensen
know
is the
that
narrator
Jensen
so far.
is narrating. They've basically said they're going to try to find a way to get Jared involved at some point in time. And I wouldn't be surprised to see some of this. Like, if Castiel's randomly in an episode, like a season finale or something, you know, I wouldn't be stunned, because they can, you know...
We'll have them all.
Oh, great. Now we can't hear him either. Oh, fuck. He didn't freeze. He was actually talking that time. And
I think now he's frozen.
oh, now he's just ready to kill someone. Dustin Smith says Tommy isn't impressed.
No, he is not.
Oh.
Are you frozen again?
I'm a spite store.
Dude, I'm just smiling. Oh yeah.
It's
He's just gonna
time.
stay in one place and try and confuse us.
It's time for our Halloween draft. So the way this is works is it's going to be a snake draft. Tommy B's got pick number 1. Kieran's got pick number 2. Johnny pick 3. I'm pick 4. I'm going to have to open a notepad here on my phone so I can keep track of who we all pick. And the only rules are really, it has to be people from the Halloween universe. So any timeline, and you cannot pick Michael Myers. The goal here is to build a team to survive Halloween night in Haddonfield against the Shape himself. The draft will be 4 rounds deep, so we get 4 people on your team to, I guess, try to help you survive the night. Tommy B?
We need to clarify how many timelines are timelines, you know?
Any of them.
Well, like, you like to say sometimes Halloween 1 and 2 don't work with 4 because of, you know,
any Halloween
movie, period.
Any officially released Halloween timeline, I guess, is the only rule. Yeah?
Yeah.
I guess next question, can we have multiple versions of the character?
Yes. So if you somehow ended up with, like, you know, Donald Pleasance Loomis and Malcolm McDowell Loomis, I mean, that would make for some entertaining on-screen interactions.
That's the thing, because by that logic, with the timelines, you have multiple Donald Pleasance Loomises.
No. Okay, I see what you're saying. Donald Pleasance's Loomis is just one Loomis. That's it. The only other Loomis would be Malcolm McDowell's Loomis. Just like the only different Laurie would be Scout Taylor Compton's Laurie.
That's kind of jacked up.
So Tommy, pick number 1 is you. You're on the clock.
Well, I don't want to pick the only Loomis. That's a fucked up.
Well, you got the number 1 pick, man.
Well, you're not, because there's still Malcolm McDowell out there.
I was gonna say Loomis from the Thorn trilogy. But
okay, so then Dr. Sam Loomis.
Fine.
All right, Tommy goes with the no-brainer LeBron James type number 1 pick here.
Well, okay. If we're doing a GOAT draft, Michael Jordan is the number 1 pick, not LeBron James.
Oh, for sure.
LeBron is a bitch.
All right, that makes my
Very
pick
talented.
super easy.
But a bitch nonetheless.
Super easy.
You take.
Busta Rhymes.
Oh, you son of a bitch!
I fucking hate you, man.
Son of a...
He beat up Michael and survived.
Oh my god! I can't believe I didn't get to use this for myself.
It's easy. I mean, it's a terrible shit movie, but he beat up Michael and survived. Like
Harris.
That's
he just
how dare
fucking.
you, sir.
He basically made Michael his bitch, which is why that movie sucks. Well, it's one of the many reasons that movie sucks. So
Interesting. No audio work on the video. Apologies. That was the
we
trick or
call
treat.
that a Tommy around here.
Well, I guess you've thrown out my whole draft board. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, that really killed mine too. So,
I mean, I'll admit he was probably my number 2 pick, but you know, now you screwed up everything.
I
So
don't remember his character's name.
This is what happens when you draft. Eat
Fred.
a dick. Come up with
Freddy.
something different.
I guess I'll take Lori, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Lori JLC. I'm going to take one Colonel Cochran from Halloween 3. Mr. Cochran. I feel like he might be able to protect me from Michael a little bit. Hopefully he comes with his mandroid army too.
I guess we didn't establish, is it Snake or Fist?
Yeah, no, Snake. My bad. And my second pick is going to be Bucky from Halloween 4. Need a sacrificial lamb.
Okay. Well, I originally had this guy slotted in as my number 1 because I figured he would not, I didn't expect Jamie Lee Curtis to fall into my lap, so I'll take Terrence Wynn.
Terrence Wynn, aka the Man in Black. Kieran, you're up, man.
Well, my first pick, I'll take Tommy Doyle, Paul Rudd version there.
Hang on, it's Tommy's go.
No.
I think he was trying to explain why.
No, if it's a snake, then
it's Tommy.
And Tommy had the first pick.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He had the first pick.
Tommy, you got back-to-back picks here if you're still with us, man. I think you are.
I am. He just took the last one I had on a list.
Sorry, Paul Rudd, Tommy Doyle, Kieran?
Oh,
Yeah, Paul Rudd, Tommy Doyle, because he seemed to know a lot about Michael, and he seemed to be very focused on how he could, how he'd get around him, and he survived a physical encounter with him as well. So
that was my next pick.
Well, I thought I was going to be bad at this. Apparently, I'm okay at it.
Tommy,
anyways, go ahead, Tommy.
Man.
Yeah. Why not bracket?
Which one?
I think you're supposed to tell us why bracket, not why not.
Yeah, that too.
Because I'm trying to figure out who I think would be least likely to die instantly.
Are we talking bracket from the main timeline or Rob Zombie's timeline? I actually like Mike, can I not think of the actor's name? Plays Chucky.
We're
Brad Dourif.
Brad Dourif. Yeah, I think he's great in the Rob Zombie movies. Not a fan of those movies, but he's excellent in them.
It's a good question. Who else?
Well, what bracket is it?
I was thinking like a original one.
OG.
Because I can't have any other name kind of mind right now. Well, let's jot down Lindsay because she didn't die. So that's a good reason, right? She didn't die.
Yeah.
Lindsay Wallace. Kieran, your third pick, man.
I'll go Jamie because I think that her connection with Michael could be exploited in a lot of ways. So I don't think she's entirely strong on her own, but I think she has almost like a weapon against Michael that could be helpful because she can kind of sense him and see what he's, and feel where he is and things like that. So.
Sorry, I didn't hear your pick. I was dealing with shitheads.
Oh,
Still mine.
Jamie Lloyd, because her
Nice.
abilities her connection with Michael can be exploited. Basically.
It's a hell of a pick.
Yeah, which is why it was supposed to be mine one pick right now. Thanks a lot for that, pal.
Johnny?
Hold on. I don't have to throw my pick out because he just took it. I am going to. Yeah, I'm gonna dip into the Rob Zombie verse, and I'm gonna take Ishmael taking Danny Trejo because every team needs a badass.
It ends very bad for him in that movie.
Well, yes,
But he was good to him.
Yeah. I was good to you, Mikey.
I hated that.
Well, if you're dipping into Zombies universe, so am I. I'm taking Mr. 2%. Mr. I sell the sizzle, not the steak. Mr. Malcolm McDowell as some form of Loomis. And I'll follow that up with Tina. I'll take Tina from Halloween 5.
Yeah.
Might be able to annoy Michael to death.
This is awesome.
Okay.
I'm so happy you made that pick.
Well, I'm with my final pick. I'm gonna confuse the world, and I am going to take a Laurie Strode, Scout Taylor Compton version. That's right. I'm double Laurieing on my team.
Scout Laurie.
Okay. Am I crazy or did no one take Meeker yet?
Nobody's taken Meeker, and if I wasn't dicking around with my team, I would have taken Meeker.
Yeah, well, I'm taking Meeker.
Meeker's great.
I
So
like
Tommy
him.
needs to finish us off the only way Tommy knows
Just
how.
took both of 2 picks of mine.
I've sniped everyone's picks every turn.
I hate drafts. I didn't even know their order reverses. It shows you how much I know, doesn't it?
So Tommy, who's the fun pick?
Here's a nice idea for you and your stupid fucking rules. I'll take Judith Myers. Someone else can choose. Either the one that gets killed first or the tombstone.
What? Jeez. Fucking just villainous.
Jesus, fuck.
Just
So we're giving him a tombstone for his 4th pick, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
sure. Why not? It's probably more useful than the actual Judith, right?
So are you going for the Batman v Superman Martha effect?
Why did you call her that?
Wow. Wow. One moment here, guys. I'm just going to pull up our teams so I can access them a little easier. Kieran, you like your team? Did you end
Yeah,
up
I
with
won.
more people
I
that...
pretty much, I won.
The audience will decide that, but...
No, I won because you guys were all pissed every pick I made, so that makes me the winner.
So that's what you base it off.
I mean, for Kieran, that is a win.
Yeah, when I piss people off, that's usually my thing that I'm going for.
Well, this is not going to be a very good looking graphic, but it is better than nothing until I have time to do a better one.
You made it right now. We just made the content right now. So what can you do?
Something stupid and quick, just so people can see the teams all together. We'll get them out there better on social media. Tommy B's got Dr. Loomis's Donald. Wow, Donald Pleasance's Loomis.
Dr. Loomis Pleasant.
Bracket,
Awesome.
Lindsay Wallace, and Judith Myers or her tombstone. That's a quote from Tommy. I mean, you could tie it to Michael, and Michael might have a hard time moving around.
You just turn it into dust.
Kieran stole my pick right out of the gate. Fuck. Goes with Busta Rhymes as Freddy, Paul Rudd's Tommy Doyle, Jamie Lloyd, and Sheriff Meeker. I actually really do like that team minus Busta Rhymes. Johnny went with Laurie, Jamie Lee Curtis, Terrence Wynn, aka the Man in Black, Danny Trejo, Mr. I was good to you, Mikey, and Scouts Laurie. And I went with the all-star lineup of Colonel Cochran, Bucky from Halloween 4, McDowell's Loomis, and Tina. There's a foursome for you. Ugh, man. We'll get that out on social media tomorrow, and all you guys can vote on it. Then we'll see who wins and come back to it next week.
Wait, are we included in the team too? Like, are
Yeah.
they trying to save me?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
I mean, your team's pretty good for that.
Yeah. Pretty happy with
Pretty
that.
good at getting us all killed.
I'm good. Just hide behind the 2 lorries and
I hope Tommy B's running is better than his internet connection.
All right, let's keep the ball rolling here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to
I have a new plan. Hide in Dr. Wynn's cloak.
I mean, that could work. Let's get to some good old Star Wars. All right, the Kenobi show is just around the corner. We are 2 months tomorrow? No. 2 months is Friday away from it, I believe. I think it debuts on the 25th of May. So Kenobi's right around the corner. It's coming out. This goes for the hosts, too. We're going to be dealing with some pretty spoilery information in this video. I mean, shocker, Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader don't die in the series. Wow, I didn't see that coming. But we're going to be dealing with some sensitive spoiler information here in terms of something that happens to one of the characters, actually 2 of the characters. So it's your guys' choice if you want to stick around or not. It's coming from Making Star Wars, so the chance of it being correct are basically like 90-95%. They rarely get shit wrong. Spoiler. Fuck you. So yeah, Forlom. Ty says Forlom. Yes, Forlom from The Empire Strikes Back is in Kenobi. My guess is it's a very small role.
Oh, so just like the role in the movies.
Yeah, probably. It's probably the equivalent of what it'll be. But all right, spoiler talk time here for Kenobi. If any of the hosts don't want to be here for this, now's the time to back out. But I feel like we've already talked pretty openly about Kenobi spoilers. So, and I mean, to me, spoilers are spoilers. It doesn't really ruin it for you. It shouldn't, if you let it set your expectations, then you're probably going to be disappointed.
I think we said this before because we know where it's going anyways.
Yeah.
If we have Forlom and no Zuckus, I riot.
So in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, Darth Vader, and again, this is coming from Making Star Wars. If you want all the nitty-gritty details, go on over and check out their video that they posted today, or head on over to their website. Jason has an article about it that's up there as well. So Kenobi and Vader fight twice in the series. The first time, and Johnny, I think this is something you might have brought up like 7 fucking years ago, by accident. I think you were the one to do it. But they fight twice in the series. The first time they fight, it's not good for Kenobi. So do you guys, I think we've all seen the Book of Boba Fett here, or maybe not. Maybe Johnny hasn't.
I haven't actually watched it yet.
Okay. I know Kieran and Tommy have. Do you guys know like the public transport that Mando takes in the Book of Boba Fett in the one episode? So it's something like that. I don't think it's the exact same transport, but it's something along those lines. And Kenobi has just gone on a very important mission to rescue someone. And while on this mission, he decides that it's probably not a good idea for him to be spotted with a lightsaber. So he doesn't bring a lightsaber on the mission with him. Well, it turns out that the mission he doesn't bring a lightsaber on is the mission he runs into Darth Vader. So Darth Vader versus Kenobi in the first fight. Kenobi doesn't even have a lightsaber. It's been speculated that he gets a hold of one of the Inquisitor's lightsabers, and that's what he fights Vader with in the first fight. But basically, the first fight goes really, really badly for Kenobi for a variety of reasons. He's also trying to stall for time to let a couple of other characters escape. Where we heard that before. Sounds awful a lot like the original Star Wars. Okay, sorry, I was just reading a message from the birthday girl. But anyways, Johnny brought up that if they're going to do a Kenobi movie or series, that they should find a way to explain why he's so not very mobile in the original trilogy because there's a massive age gap between Alec Guinness, or at least maybe not age gap, but the way they appear.
Physical.
It's even now when you look at Kenobi in the teaser trailer, it's like when you tell me he goes from that to Alec Guinness in 9 years. These are the type of things that fans go on about. To me, I just chalk it up to, hey, one was made in 1977 and the other one's made in 2021. So
People just generally looked older.
22, right? Yeah, just but I don't think they're going so far as to like, hey, this is how it is, because as far as I know, he gets healed, but Kenobi gets wounded like really bad, like worse than people probably would think. And okay, I'm gonna go ahead and say it again. If you want more details, go on to Making Star Wars. But Vader lights him on fire. So
How do you like it?
that's exactly what it is. Like that's. You talk about being pissed and wanting revenge. That's a very Sith thing. Like, I want to see you burn now. That's the point Vader's at this point. So that's the first part of it, is Kenobi's going to get really badly burnt, and he does get rescued, but I'm not going to say by who. And because I'm not even necessarily clear specifically on the characters that rescue him as I am the group, and it's a group that we have seen before. And then in the second battle, again, won't give any details away in terms of what happened. Go back and watch past episodes or head on over to Making Star Wars for that as well. You know how we've seen so many like Darth Vader, like, I don't know if they're mythos statues, but like so many different takes on like battle damage Darth Vader. We've seen it in The Force Unleashed. There's so many custom statues made with like his armor's all torn up and his mask's torn in half or in thirds, and like you see the shell of a human that's left in there, and it sounds like we're going to get that in the Kenobi series as well. So some people might think that's a little fan service, but I mean, hey, if you're going to have Hayden back, why not do that? You have a chance to pull off that iconic imagery. Do it, and do it properly. What are your guys' thoughts on Kenobi being burned alive, and us getting battle damaged Darth Vader?
Yeah, getting burned alive might age you a little bit, along with the sand. Getting burned alive in the sand. Those will probably age you a little faster.
I mean, think about it. All we see of Kenobi in the original movie is his hands and his face. Nothing else is exposed.
It's fair. I mean, he never even removes his robe until he dies. So,
I mean, it drives me crazy when people want to have, like, why does he look like Alec Guinness and move slowly? Because he was played by Alec Guinness and he was an old man who moved slowly. And sword fighting at that time, seeing that was amazing. Like, seeing just the flashing light swords clank against each other was fucking amazing. Like, at the time it was crazy. Well, guess what? It's 50 years later and now people are doing fucking crazy backflips. They can animate whatever they want. Like, any character can do whatever the fuck they want now because they can computer generate whatever they want. That's why. Like, it's not like, why did he, it's not even that he didn't move so fast. It's that was what a sword fight resembled. They were like fencing. It wasn't like a crazy fucking like backflips and shit like that, because they didn't even do that yet. Like, that didn't exist in any movie at that time. Like, it drives me crazy when people want to explain stuff like that, when the explanation is because that movie was made in the 1970s. Like, that's the only
price you pay for going back and doing
That's
stuff
all you
that
need.
happens before, right? Like,
It was such
if
a
you're gonna-
small time span between the two.
yeah, like, it. I mean, George
like,
Lucas
do
solved
they
some of
have
these
to-
problems himself. So
Do they have to explain why Harrison Ford's face is skinnier than friggin' Aiden, whatever his name is? Like,
I've never thought about that.
do they have to explain, like, oh, well, he got his bones restructured? No, it's just a different actor.
I
That's
mean,
all.
To me, I wasn't looking for an explanation. I've always just accepted the fact that, hey, it's, it is what it is. And like, honestly, like, to me, it's a no-brainer that this show is going to be the biggest Star Wars show, period. Like, people have wanted this for so long. It's going to blow Mando numbers away. It's going to blow Book of Boba Fett numbers away.
I don't know, dude. I kind of disagree with that. I'm not convinced this is going to do as well as Mando.
Oh, I think it'll do way better than Mando. Way
Here's the
better
thing.
than Mando.
I think they're putting more time, more money, and effort into this than Mando, but I'm not convinced yet that this is going to get the worldwide acclaim that Mando gets. Mando's a pop culture thing. I don't know if Obi-Wan Kenobi's going to be beyond, the outer rings of the fan base, if that makes sense. I keep looking up at my upper camera.
There's someone way bigger though than Mandalorian. I'd still say Obi-Wan Kenobi's bigger than Mandalorian, quite frankly.
It's not. I think Tom was just meaning like this series, as in general, has a bigger cultural effect than this one will, and I think Tommy's probably right. Just because I don't expect anything to have the cultural phenomenon that is Grogu. I mean,
Exactly.
Grogu came out and has just become.
Book of Boba Fett numbers are better than Mandalorian numbers.
Yeah, but that's not. That's cause and effect.
Grogu was in that.
Barely.
But it's still cause and effect. People were there to see Grogu. Like, there's a large portion of people who couldn't tell you, who only know who Darth Vader is because they've seen, a picture of him.
I got news for you guys. If you think Grogu's more popular than Darth Vader even today, you're nuts. You're out of your mind. Darth Vader is still the image of Star Wars. They will always go back to Darth Vader.
But Grogu brought people who didn't give a shit about Star Wars, whereas...
But how many of them actually stayed? By the looks of it, not many.
The difference is, like, we're comparing... We're comparing, I don't want to say apples to oranges, but to a degree we are. Darth Vader is a creation of the 70s. And yes, he's a cultural phenomenon. And he has had a huge knock-on effect on, just general pop culture. But Grogu was a creation of the social media era. Where there's just so much more... I'm almost willing to bet that Grogu has been mentioned in more tweets than Darth Vader ever has in the existence of Twitter.
Right, but how many of these people are actually watching the show? I'm talking.
But that's not.
That's
entirely the point.
It is the point, because that was the question. The question was, will Obi-Wan do better numbers than Mandalorian Book of Boba Fett? And it will.
Yes, because of the snowball effect. Like, for a TV series that's on a streaming service like this, the snowball effect is real. Mandalorian built the customer base, which has just snowballed and rolled and continued growing because of other things. You had WandaVision and Loki, and the customer base kept growing and kept growing and kept growing. Like, if you think Star Wars is the only reason Disney Plus is the numbers it has, you're insane, and you're living in a Star Wars bubble. I'm not saying you specifically. I'm saying you culturally, because people say that. People think that the only reason you get Disney. I'm saying people.
See anybody say that?
Come on now, we've both.
there's
seen,
a ton of memes about it.
We've both seen tweets and posts and Facebook places where, like, oh, if Star Wars wasn't on Disney Plus, they wouldn't have half the people they do. It's just, there are people that believe that.
Don't pay my Disney Plus subscription just for Star Wars.
But there are people that believe that that's all people go there for, and that's just wrong. And living in a Star Wars bubble. And we all know people who live in those bubbles. Every fandom has people who live in the fandom bubble. That's the only fandom that exists. If anybody
thinks Star Wars pushing any streaming service right now, then they're not paying attention to the lifeline of the franchise at the moment. They need a hit here. I liked Book of Boba Fett, but make no mistake, that series got slaughtered critically and by most fans. They've had way more L's than W's. What are their W's recently? Anyways, Mando season 1 and 2.
I'm not saying they have those, because we can look at it with an actual, we see both sides of the coin. We see the hits and we see the misses, and we acknowledge both as what they are. But there are people that, everything hits, everything is the best thing that's ever happened, and just that's not. I can say names, but I'm not gonna name names because that's just
I know where
rude.
you're going with it, yeah.
But I mean, people, I know people, and some of those are the same people, and it doesn't have that cultural effect that people think it does. But Grogu pierced that bubble.
Well,
he was mentioned on Fallon. He was mentioned on
my wife is not going to care about Kenobi. She's going to watch it and be like staring at her phone. When Grogu appeared on the TV, she watched it.
There are going to be a lot of people who are like, "Is Grogu in it?" No.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not watching it.
Who said no?
I'm saying if that's the answer, then their answer is, well, then I'm not watching it.
Did Book of Boba Fett really do better numbers than The Mandalorian?
Yeah, because it's
right too. So
people saw it as it was going to be the next. Like it's basically The Mandalorian season 3, and I think a lot of people figured that out.
2.5 or whatever.
Yeah,
Like
it's
Timon and Pumbaa thing in between.
Because if Boba Fett hadn't appeared in Mandalorian show at all, then maybe it would have been different. But it was more.
Yeah, I'm talking just for the.
Happen.
I'm talking just for the Star Wars fan base. When is the last time that we legitimately saw a lot of Darth Vader in the suit? And the answer to that is 1983, Kieran's favorite Star Wars movie. It's been very, very minimal parts for Vader between there. Obviously, I'm not going to count video game stuff because obviously he was heavy.
Wow. What got Rebels season 2, right?
Yeah, but even
yeah.
then, he's in 5 episodes of a 20 episode season. And
his screen time still wasn't
a lot of them.
very minimal. Very minimal. Rogue One, he has 3 scenes, I think, and 2 of them are very, very short. The other one's kind of cringy. And it's like,
well, I mean, it's going to be Hayden Christensen. There's going to be plenty of cringe in there, I'm sure.
I disagree. It's not George Lucas writing him.
It doesn't matter.
It does matter.
It doesn't matter.
It does matter.
Well, you know what? You're right. It does matter. It'll be like he'll be at 75% of his cringe.
Hayden will be absolutely spectacular if Kieran comes on after the series and goes, you know what? He was serviceable. Even if he says that.
Please.
Yeah, honestly.
Let's be honest. You know Kieran. I know Kieran. And it's safe to say that Hayden Christensen could go out there and have an Oscar-worthy performance, and Kieran would still call it crap.
It's not going to happen. He doesn't know. He doesn't have the ability to do it. It's not going to happen.
The people rest.
He could be serviceable, and then I would be happy. That's all.
I don't need the prequel trilogy for the first time in a while, and again, I'll stand by this. If you think that I'm not saying you're saying this. Wouldn't surprise me if you were, though. People who think that Hayden Christensen's performance in Revenge of the Sith isn't any better than Attack of the Clones are fucking nuts, because it's night and day. There's still cringe for sure, and there's still some really bad dialogue in Revenge of the Sith. But those 2 performances aren't even close. I even found myself during Attack of the Clones this weekend going, I've seen this movie 6 times in theaters. Wow. How did I do that? But I still enjoyed it, but that movie's kind of but I loved him in Revenge of the Sith. I thought he was great.
They're both bad.
You're just wrong.
I don't think you can look at this objectively. I'm not convinced that you can objectively judge Hayden.
He can't.
No,
and
this is what happens.
Pointed that by pointing
people
out
who like Star Wars. People who like Star Wars really want to like Hayden Christensen's performance, and so they're okay with it. But any person who judges regular movies, just like we say with horror movies, people like horror movies, but then when you get someone who judges movies for a living, like all sorts of movies, they're going to be like, the acting was atrocious in almost every horror movie all the time. That's what this is. If you take any critic who judges actors on a regular basis from dramatic movies and whatever, would be like, that guy can't act. But people who just watch Star Wars and whatever, then
Well, I mean-
you know, they'll be like, "Oh, I really loved Anakin. That's great. Anakin, cool character. There's lots of great stuff. He's Darth Vader. It's awesome."
Feel bad for the person that only watches Star Wars though, because like they're missing out on a lot of good shit. So
They exist.
They exist. They exist.
They exist.
So, all right, that's going to do it for our Star Wars talk on this episode, which means it's going to do it for Tommy Bizzle. Dude, I know you're ready to just kick StreamYard's ass, kick internet's ass, kick camera's asses. You're ready to kick everybody's ass.
Use Zoom fine. I think something must have changed because we're doing US to Canada. I don't understand it.
We were always doing US to Canada.
I know. I don't get it. I can do Zoom meetings fine.
So you're blaming Canada for this. You're blaming Canada for this.
No, I'm blaming StreamYards. I mean, my internet connection isn't as great as it once was, but again, I can do this with no issue. Other services, so
Hollywood didn't cancel them. Oh my god.
All his movies flopped. All his movies flopped, so he stopped getting jobs. Like, that's what happened.
Tommy, get out of here before you have to listen to any more Kieran's Poison. Let's get someone else to listen to Kieran's Poison. Anti-Hayden.
okay. Good night, everybody.
Take it easy, man. Teen Runner StreamYard dies tonight. Joining the show. Hey, Jared, how you feeling, man? Feeling better than last week?
I am feeling significantly better than last week. Yeah, I had a stomach bug and I slept for like 2 straight days. So I am good. I haven't even watched any AEW in the past week. So I was just checking out Dark from today, actually. There's 14 matches on Dark and the episode's an hour. So.
Wait, what? 14 matches in an hour?
Uh-huh.
Lesnar working a bunch?
Yeah, the average match is probably like 3.5 minutes. So I'll dig into that tonight.
I have a few specific wrestling questions for you guys tonight that I want you guys to discuss as a panel. But before we get there, the three of us got to talk about Scott Hall last week. Jared missed out on his chance. So any just thoughts or memories of Scott Hall you want to share?
You know, it's tough because his life, I mean, he wasn't guaranteed the last 10 to 15 years. And when he went through the rehab program and did the stuff with DDP and just really flipped it around, and I mean, it was an awesome story and he got to like live his redemption, and a lot of guys don't get that. And I thought that was just really cool that he was able to see the other side of it, you know, and actually be appreciated for his work and, you know, kick the demons that he had and, you know, just be like, hey, you know what? I had a career and people that meant something to people. And he got to see that and he got to go in the Hall of Fame. And, you know, I'll hold my reservations for the WWE Hall of Fame for another time. But like he was able to be appreciated for what he left the business. And I think and I mean, I think I say this in contrast to the Ultimate Warrior, who really had like, you know, unfortunately like 3 days of his redemption tour. And then, you know, and I think Scott Hall left a good mark on the business because and when he passed, I was reading all these stories of him doing indie shows and just, you know, talking to guys and coaching them and actually listening and giving feedback and, you know, being the kind of person that you want to be as an elder statesman in the business, you know, not some jerk who's, you know, the Undertaker, for example, who's like, oh, all the kids, they don't bust heads in bars. They just play video games now. Like, no, get fucked, pal. Like Scott Hall is where it should be, you know, and, you know, I think the wrestling business is better off because of him, because he revolutionized a lot of things, you know, the ladder match, the NWO. I even went back and watched the Austin match at WrestleMania, and that was significantly better than I remember it being. They were bumping their ass off. Kevin Nash did a run-in that match and actually ran all the way around the ring to punch a ref in the mouth. He hasn't ran that fast or that far in 40 years. So
and didn't tear a quad.
Exactly.
That's the real accomplishment there.
And if
Also, I can't normally I'd like let these things go, but come on, are we really giving Scott Hall the credit for the ladder match? They just did Bret Hart's ladder match. Like if you watch that in comparison to the real first, and that's the one thing that I hate. Like I love Scott, I love Sean, I love all that, but all of this first ladder match in WWE history was 2 years before that.
Exactly. And I actually just put the Bret Sean ladder match up on the drive last week. So
it's almost the same match. Like it's the same finish, it's the same everything.
Exactly.
It's just Sean and Razor, and don't get me wrong, it's a great match and great psychology. But if we really want to talk about a ladder match that they pioneered, let's talk about the SummerSlam match.
Exactly. I agree 100%.
That's them.
Yep. That like you said, that was them doing their ladder match because the suplex bump to the floor that I shared yesterday, right?
Turn my tailbone to dust.
And there's a spot where Michaels gets his ankle caught in the ladder while taking the bump, and just all that, like that was their brand of ladder match, which was completely different than the one they did 18 months before, and it's phenomenal. If you have not seen the SummerSlam '95 ladder match, skip the rest of the show because it's god awful, but watch the ladder match.
I heard earlier, and I think I've heard this before. I don't know how true it is, but that Scott Hall went up to Sting and was like, "Hey, man, you seen the Crow?"
Totally. They had the discussion, and he put together pretty much Sting's Crow persona because Sting really had no like. They obviously had the plan of like, okay, Sting is going to be anti-WCW, but they didn't really know where they were going to go with it. And I guess Scott Hall kind of is like, hey, this could actually work as a wrestling gimmick, and Sting looked into it and was like, oh, this is cool, and then they just ran with it. And
and it's cool because that's how Razor did his own gimmick, right? He was like, oh, I'm just gonna be Al Pacino there, and then like he's just like, I'll just talk to Vince in this accent, and boom, that's how we did that in an era where Vince made up the characters for the most point. And
that one wasn't Vince creation. That wasn't Scott. That was Vince.
It fit too, because back in '92, guys did a lot more coke.
If you go with the story as told by Bruce Pritchard, Vince finally got around to watching Scarface in 1992 and realized that Tony Montana would make a great character.
That's on brand for Vince. 10 years too late. He just watched Lord of the Rings, so expect a Hobbit character next week.
I've still only seen it one time. All right, so I'm gonna take you guys on a little.
Is the acting not good enough in Lord of the Rings for you? Should it have Hayden?
It was great. No, I've never gone back to it. I really enjoyed my watch through them. I thought they were really good. But then again, I thought the Hobbit movies are pretty okay too, and most people disagree with that. So
yeah,
if you don't have the love of the canon or read the books, then sure, they were great movies. But if you've read the books, it's like
no backstory,
garbage fest.
So last night I found myself high, probably around 8:45, and I had nothing left on the agenda to do last night. And so I laid on the couch and I'm thinking, okay, I'll watch the Leaf game. Well, there's no Leaf game. I'm like, well, shit. Do the Jays have a nighttime spring training game? That's rare. No, they didn't. And then I went on Twitter and saw rumors about Cody Rhodes possibly popping up on Raw.
Again.
And I haven't watched Monday Night Raw in there's no way I've watched any more than 5 or 10 minutes in well over half a decade. So I gave it a try. And again,
that was your first mistake.
This is not me bashing for the sake of bashing. So if you guys loved it, great, awesome. I don't know how anybody fucking watches that dog shit and goes, hey, this is professional wrestling. Because it doesn't feel like it at all anymore. Their whole product turns me fucking off. And I legitimately took nothing from it. I even thought that the main event, which was AJ Styles and Seth Rollins, I've seen both of those guys do incredible matches. I don't know if they just weren't supposed to go out there and do anything worth watching last night, because they sure as hell didn't. Holy fuck, it was terrible. And I just thought to myself, well, if these two can't get me to watch, I don't think there's hope for me with this product at all. Obviously, I'll watch some clips from WrestleMania for the things I want to watch, but it all leads me to this. The only reason I even turned it on was to see Cody Rhodes.
They just do their thing. It's hard because they just do their thing. Like they're definitely just like, okay, you do the buckle bomb and then the thing, and then you do that thing that you do, and then I'll do the thing that I do, and
It was the greatest
after
hits
I'm
match.
done, after I'm done doing the thing that I do, we'll do the fucky finish and we'll go home. And it's just like, there's no like, hey man, I saw this thing from like an old match, like where this happens, and like, why don't we try and bring that? It's just like, nah, you do the you thing, and then I'll do the me thing, and then it's on TV.
I just think like, I mean, I had already accepted it, but like last night was proof of, yeah, no, I will probably never watch this product again on any sort of regular basis, period. So hopefully AEW sticks around and things go good. But my first question is to all three of you. Not what should they do, what are they going to do with Cody Rhodes? Because it sounds like he signed there for quite a bit of money, and what do they do with him? Or does he just go back to mid-card Cody Rhodes?
I've heard two things. One, now I have not seen this reported anywhere, but I saw it being rumored that Cody was going to potentially be shifted off to the writing team and not have that long of an in-ring presence. Because his even in AEW, he was like, I've got like 3 years left. So I don't think we're getting a sustained Cody run. I mean, he could be a main event guy on SmackDown. Absolutely. I do not doubt that being a possibility whatsoever. And I was hearing a rumor also that the match at WrestleMania with Seth, the winner of that is going to face the WWE champion in May at WrestleMania Backlash, because it's no longer Backlash. Everything has to have fucking WrestleMania attached to it. But that's another story for another day.
It's the only property that's still alive.
I'm just excited for WrestleMania Money in the Bank and WrestleMania Survivor Series.
Those ones won't get to WrestleMania because they actually matter. They have name value. That's why
they're doing Money in the Bank at like a stadium this year.
It's at Allegiant, yeah.
Yeah.
It's in Vegas. Yep.
That's weird for
SummerSlam is
like a
at
B
Nissan
show
in Nashville. Money in the Bank has moved into that fifth, that number 5 slot for fifth pay-per-view of the year, and everything else is just in your house.
Yeah. Like I think Cody will be, I mean, they're hurting for baby faces right now. And they've built 2 if not more weeks of TV around, is he showing up? So I mean, that right there gives me at least some semblance of hope that, hey, they're going to put him in a main event slot. He's going to be an important cog in the wheel while he's around, not, mid-card Stardust bullshit. He'll be at least Cody, the Cody that we've seen for the past, 2-3 years.
This part's kind of irrelevant, but his theme music he used in AEW, was that created by their guys or created by someone outside?
His theme is
I thought it was actual licensed music.
Yeah, it's actually licensed music. That's why he had it.
WWE technically could have purchased that. He might be able to use that.
But they could license it, yeah.
Hopefully that's what they do.
But they won't.
For him. No?
Yeah.
Not unless he made it a contract demand. And that would be a stupid contract demand to die on.
Yeah. I think Johnny's probably right. I mean, I'm
banking cash money. He comes out to Stardust theme at WrestleMania. I'm almost calling. I'm predicting right now that, because this is WWE booking, so this is probably the way it will go. Seth will come out and do his challenge.
Right.
Seth will come out and do his challenge, and and then you'll get the Stardust Tron, and then people will be like, "Oh my God, he's actually going to do Stardust," and then he'll come out as Cody Rhodes. Maybe switch back to the dashing theme, or go to something else, something new. Or I mean, they could license. The song for Mania, maybe, but
I think it's like this big popular song, so I imagine the price is not going to be deadly, but
it's just like the Cody Rhodes booking to me is going to be very simple because it's WWE. He'll get, the big pop on the comeback. He'll get, over for a few months. He'll get, some time main eventing, maybe a pay-per-view or two in between. And by SummerSlam, he's, back to being an also ran.
So the Jeff Hardy treatment, basically, on his latest run.
Exactly. I mean, there's unless you are the guy, you are not going to get a sustained push at the top. You have to be a Seth Rollins or a Roman Reigns to get a sustained push at the top, or else you're not going to get it. You might get a few months, you might even get over, but you're not going to get that sustained push. And I mean, if you look at it historically, nobody has really gotten that unless they are the guy at any point in the WWE, really ever. Vince has never been able to properly maintain, a group of top guys. There's always been the top guy, and the guys they build up to feed like
you plug and play.
The WWE territory is built on Monster of the Month. It's what it's built on historically. Even if you go back to the territory days, even if you predate Vince McMahon Jr., his father booked that way. It was the Monster of the Month. The guy fighting Bruno is the guy fighting Bruno, while the next guy fighting Bruno is working his way up the card. And it was always that handoff where the top guy was the top guy and everybody else would just circle around and circle around and circle around. And that worked great in the territory days.
Which sucked because they had those guys had to fuck off after that match with Hogan.
Yeah, but the thing was you had places to fuck off too.
Yep.
Yeah.
You could run down to Memphis. You could run down to Oklahoma and work with Bill Watts. You could go to Texas and work with the Von Erichs, or Houston and Paul Bosch, or St. Louis, or Portland, or Calgary, or Toronto, or I could keep going, or Puerto Rico, or
where they had to put broken beer bottles around the outside of the stadium so fans would stop jumping in,
or Japan, or the number of places you could go were endless. Where after you were finished with Bruno, you could go somewhere else and then cycle back in a year and do another top program, and then just keep running around your loop. Whereas there is no loop anymore. You've got AEW, you've got WWE.
Sorry, go ahead, Kieran.
It sucks because I really want to see, I really badly want to see Cody win a championship. It doesn't matter if it's the Universal or the WWE, whatever the other one's called. I really badly want to see that because he's the perfect wrestler, the perfect character to have that moment where it's like, I've been working so goddamn hard, because people know that he has been working so goddamn hard. And he fits the WWE style so perfectly. He's the only one who came to AEW and still worked that kind of style, just kind of changed it a little bit. He's WWE's style of promo that they like, where it's epic and he can talk about his dad. I think everything is perfect for him to go back, and he just needs to get there and win the title. And it can only be for a month or 2 months. I don't care. It doesn't matter. He just has to get there.
The only way that can happen is, they're building up this title for title, title unification thing. And let's be honest, everybody and their uncle knows that Roman Reigns is not doing the job. There is no universe anywhere on planet Earth or any of its multiversal variants that exist where Vince McMahon is going to let Cody Rhodes come in and beat Roman Reigns. It will never happen. And if you think that it will, I own a deed to the Brooklyn Bridge and I would like to sell it to you.
I agree. Yeah. It has to be some other way.
I thought I heard from some. I mean, I don't want to dive into this because we're on extremely limited time at this point, but I could have swore I heard someone say that perhaps the plan is to have Roman hold on to the titles all the way till the following WrestleMania, which, when's the last time there was a run like that? A long ass time, right? Like Hogan?
I think so.
Would,
much,
it would have to be. Yeah, everybody else.
Hogan and Bruno.
Yeah, because he's already over Punk.
Did that forever, right?
Yeah, and Punk was the longest since Hogan, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even that wasn't anywhere close to Bruno.
Yeah.
No, I don't. We're never seeing a Bruno again.
Oh God, no. There's no.
I mean.
But that's because he was like a go town to town circus attraction where it was like, come see the
Well, no,
I mean, the hairy Italian.
They were in the same places every month, but it's back to that, that roller coaster of, build up the next guy, and Bruno just kept drawing, just like Hulk did. They just kept drawing in these towns where they'd come. You're in the Garden every month. You're in the Spectrum every month. You're in the Boston Garden every month.
What I mean was he was more like the Harlem Globetrotters, right? Like he was like, it wasn't.
No,
like,
that's Andre.
It does. Well, okay.
Andre was the Harlem Globetrotter.
But like he came and it was like, okay, well, like people weren't like he's gonna lose.
I mean, I understand the comparison you're making, but the Harlem Globetrotters are you come into the town once a year and you pop. You pull the crowd. That's Andre. That's what Andre did. Andre was the Globetrotters.
All right, what's your other Sean?
My
Sean
girlfriend
Payne.
just-
Give us another question, Sean.
No,
My
it's just-
girlfriend just texted me. I broke the golden rule. We're not. We don't talk about Bruno.
Okay. God, no, I can't see my. So there was the last time Jared was on, he talked about how the rumor was Cody Rhodes wanted to be paid in AEW like Punk and Jericho, and Khan wasn't going for it. Although I've seen a lot of stuff. Again, I don't know what's legit, what's not. The last couple of days that suggests that he was mad about booking power being taken away, and that him and Kenny Omega have some beef going on right now. Apparently Kenny's going around liking all the shit that Cody said about how he'll never go back and yada yada yada, and I don't know if he's just trolling for fun or if there's something more there. What are you guys' thoughts on this?
I think I said this on the show a few weeks ago. It just boils back to the division of labor in AEW at creation. You know, everybody kind of got their own little corner of the universe, their own little corner of the castle. And Cody's the only one who got his corner of the castle taken away. You know, Matt and Nick still run the merchandising. Kenny still runs the video game stuff. You know, Cody was the one who was in on the booking. He was the one who was there every week helping Tony put together the shows and work his own programs and write his own stuff. And that got taken away from him. He's the only one who lost his spot, really. And he wanted, you know, it seemed like he wanted money to make up for that if he wouldn't give him that power back, which, you know, I mean, kind of rightly so, because as much as we talk about, you know, the Young Bucks and Kenny, without Cody Rhodes, there is no AEW. You know, he is the one who rose to the challenge from Dave Meltzer that said Ring of Honor can't fill a 10,000 seat stadium. Cody Rhodes is the one that says you're wrong, we can, and I'm going to prove it, and then did it. That wasn't Tony Khan. That wasn't, you know, All In was the greatest analogy that Cody Rhodes is Dusty. That was a Dusty thing. Dusty would have done All In, and he would have loved the hell out of it.
Jer?
Yeah, and he would have had David Allen Coe try and perform and then realize he's dead.
Well, that's a whole other thing altogether. That's what he would have done when they eventually do the stadium tour.
Yeah, like
They would have had the first ever "you can only wear cowboy boots" match.
yeah, I
That's
think
called
there's
a
point
bunkhouse
there.
match, and it already exists.
Like Cody, was he an integral part of the beginning of AEW? Yes. Did he overplay his hand and overvalue himself? Absolutely. Sean mentioned the interview that Kenny liked on, I guess, Instagram or whatever, but Cody specifically referenced himself as the VP of AEW, using that specific language. And I think that's kind of how Cody saw himself in that role, as being Tony's right-hand man rather than it being a collaborative effort. Like Johnny said, the division of labor with Durkheim. And I think that was a great sociology reference for anyone who got it.
So no one.
Yeah. But I think Cody's in for a rude awakening because he's going back to a system, and specifically that, a system where he has little to no power, considerably less. I mean, I had heard that Tony had taken away Cody's booking powers, but I mean, we obviously knew that Cody had his little section of the TV. He could work his little angles, but obviously it was, you know, it was Cody's world in an AEW structure. You know, driving around on that little tricycle.
He basically asked to be put back in the Matrix.
He is
Yeah.
living he's living his father's career, is what he's doing. You know, he had his
Why?
run.
Because he got humbled and came back to WCW in '91.
Well, this is his you took away, this is his Jim Crockett took the book away from me. And so I'm just going to go up north and I'm
Well,
going
yeah,
to be a WWF guy.
He got stabbed in the eye with a spike in '88 on TBS. They don't allow that.
Then
But I
came
mean, that's the
the
same
polka
thing, right?
dots.
Like he got his power taken away, so he left. And you're right, he's in for a rude awakening. He is in for polka dots. Like,
Yep.
People expect he's not going to be the American Nightmare. And
No.
anybody who thinks he's going to be the American Nightmare is the ones who are really in for a rude awakening. Like, they're expecting AEW Cody to show up in WWE. That's not going to happen.
It'd be the smart thing to do, in my opinion, as a generic viewer of it. Like,
There is only one person in the history of professional wrestling that I can think of off the top of my head, and I don't know if Jared will agree with me or not, but there's only one person in the history of professional wrestling who has invented a character outside of the WWE umbrella, brought that character into the WWE umbrella, and not only survived, but thrived, and that is the Nature Boy, Ric Flair.
Yeah,
There's one
I
other I
got
would
that.
put
Yeah,
on that.
when you said that, I thought that. Sorry,
AJ Styles.
yeah.
that's pretty fair. He's a little bit different, but that's pretty fair.
I mean,
I think
yeah, okay.
He would fit under the bridge of relatively untouched.
He
take
embraced
Styles over
to the machine, whereas Rick was just Rick. He was still the limousine riding, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing son of a gun.
Color
AJ
getting
kind
and
of-
getting heat for it. Ric Flair.
AJ conformed to the machine, but you're right. He is still pretty much the same AJ. He's just the WWE version of it.
Kieran, any thoughts on Cody Rhodes, WWE?
I mean, other than the fact that, I basically said, I want this, but I know I'm not going to get it. I agree. It would be smart for them to just take the exact same AEW character and bring him in. And he already did all the things that WWE does. He gives the same type of promos they like already. He wrestles around the same types of matches that they like. Like, it wouldn't be a big change. So
No, I think that's where you're wrong, because there's one thing you're not taking into account, and that is the one thing that helped make Cody so big in AEW was Vince
Blood?
McMahon is going to take the blade away.
yeah, that's what I just said.
And
yeah.
that's a huge part of a good Cody Rhodes match is color. Just like Dusty Rhodes before that, the color is important.
He does like he does selling and he does emotional angles really well. So I mean, hopefully he gets to do that. I mean, WWE is kind of sapped of emotion right now as well too. So I don't know.
He got X-Pac heat in AEW for doing WWE stuff.
Yeah.
Well, now he's just gonna get X-Pac heat.
Quickly here, Jer, have you seen Dynamite from last week then, or no?
No.
Okay, well, I guess we can't talk about that.
I saw clips of the cage match.
I
saw that suplex, or that, well, it wasn't a suplex. It was like a push off onto that chair pile that looked horrendous.
Painful. So you didn't see any of the Jericho stuff then?
I saw a little bit of it. I saw him mention the sports entertainment.
I messaged you and was like,
yeah,
this is where he could slide it.
I saw the sports entertainment reference and I was like, that's brilliant, because it's the ECW thing where WWE has obviously created this establishment. The idea of WWE can get heat. It's the same as ECW using Cactus Jack using WCW references. It's the idea of this other promotion that gets heat. So Jericho can literally just leech off everything WWE stands for, and the crowd will respond to it. And he knows that. So it's fucking brilliant.
The only real part of the Jericho Appreciation Society that really pisses me off is the timing. Because 2.0 worked their first IWS show in like 10 years, and you know what they came to the ring with? Fozzy. That's not cool. Yes, they came out to Judas.
Because they used to come out to Beat It, I want to say, by Michael Jackson.
Yeah,
15 years ago.
When I say the greatest entrance in IWS history, 2.0 versus Twiggy and Pornstar 1.
Nobody knows what IWS is.
Agreed.
And
This is
I'm
This
sad
is a
for you.
conversation that you and Jared need to have on your own time.
It's where Kevin
It's a
Owens and
Patreon
Sami
show.
Zayn came from.
It's arguably the greatest Canadian independent company ever.
Other than the one that I booked.
Quickly, 20
I'm
seconds or
sticking
less.
with what I
know
said.
that's going to be really hard for Johnny, who can't seem to shut up right now. But what do you do with Punk? He's back. I know people were worried, myself included. He was just filming season 2 of Heels. What do you do with Punk next? My vote would be the Hangman thing, since they teased it, but it seems like Hangman's going to be busy with Cole again. Kind of seems like there's this guy throwing the sports entertainer thing out there, and AEW seems to love ripping WWE all the time. So what better way than to have the Jericho Appreciation Society square off against Eddie Kingston and oh my God, what's the tag team name again? Help me out. Somebody save me.
Oh, Santana and Ortiz.
Yeah, Santana and Ortiz, and then you throw Punk in there and someone else in there, and you got yourself 5-on-5 for a few.
Great, let's do that feud again. No.
Well, I think it's coming. Like I really do think that's where they're gonna. I'd rather see that happen than Punk comes to save Wardlow.
I don't think we're going there. I think Punk's gonna get a carryover feud. A get me over feud. Something.
One.
And that's not it, because you've still got. You'd have to tie him up with Jericho, because anybody else in that group is not who he's going to work with. And you've built up Eddie Kingston as the foe. This is Eddie's story. If you sideline Eddie for Punk, I think it craps on the entire Eddie Punk program from the fall, which is something AEW has been reticent to do. I think you're just going to get a carryover, something that gets him over in the short term for a few months. Quite frankly, this is just me purely spitballing. I'm going to throw out a name. Jared's going to be like, that'd be awesome. But my money says Jonathan Gresham.
I don't know who that is.
I'm thinking April 1st, Punk shows up at Supercard of Honor. Jonathan Gresham.
Punk's Wednesday, but yeah.
I'm thinking Supercard of Honor. You get the undisputed championship match with Jonathan Gresham is clearly going to win, because it makes no sense for it to be Bandito.
Well, he was going to beat Bandito anyways at Final
Exactly.
Battle.
So Jonathan Gresham wins that match and then challenges everyone. Proclaims himself the greatest Ring of Honor champion in history, and that's when Punk shows up.
They come.
And here, cult of personality. There's CM Punk, stares him down while Gresham's got that old school Ring of Honor belt in his hand. And
here comes Homicide, and he's like, "I held that belt for 2 months."
That's your feud to get you over through May, which is where I think you get the final blow off of Cole Punk. He's the Ring of Honor champion.
Octopus guy, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay,
which brings me to my next point.
Awesome.
Is that a band shirt, or are you wearing a Gresham t-shirt?
I am wearing a Dark Order shirt.
How dare they narc on the octopus?
Oh, I think Johnny's right about the holdover feud for Punk. It would work for him to get into the Jericho thing, but I think Johnny's right about Kingston kind of being the headpiece for that. I could really just see Punk go work a guy like Ricky Starks for 2-3 months, and he had his kind of watermark with MJF, and that's what he's there for. But now it's kind of okay. Let's push him down to the card a little bit. We'll put Hangman up, ending shows, and then we can just do. And it's not even that. I mean, Punk can hang on the mic with Taz all day long. That's not a problem.
Hang on the mic with that's funny. You just put Taz in the same class on the mic with
You're
Punk.
damn
that's
right.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, beat me
funny
if you
guy.
can, survive if I let you, brother. Yeah.
Taz hasn't been good on the mic in 30 years.
He's from He's from the Red Hook section in New York.
Yeah, he hasn't been good on the mic in that long.
Kieran, what do you do with Punk? I sorry, to Jared's point, I hope they don't push him down the card again, because it felt like that's all he was up until the Kingston MJF thing. Is he was doing opening stuff, and go ahead.
The thing I want to see the most, and this is one of the things I want to see the most, period, is him do a program with Aleister Black. That obviously can't happen right now because they're kind of busy with things. If that could clear up soon enough, then that'd be great. But that's what I really want to see. I don't. That's the first thing I wanted to see when he showed up, I think. But
That would be fun.
I don't think that's going to happen yet, but I don't know. I think that's what I would like to see. So if you could do a short feud, and I more lean to what Jer said, and he'll just work with someone that's already on the show. I mean, working
He's
against
gonna
Jonathan
work with
Gresham would be
someone, though.
great, but
Do you think they're just going to throw him in with the Wardlow thing? I hope that's not the direction
something
they
like that.
go. But
It could definitely be that. It could definitely be that, or it could be friggin' the Murder Hawk or anyone. I don't know if he's
Murder Hawk
back.
would be fun.
we'll end the show on this question, guys. From Mrs. Jer. Do you guys see Omega coming back soon? And how do you think Hangman's storyline will go? I guess it's 2 questions. I could have swore I just read that Omega.
Yeah, Kenny just went in for another round of surgery.
Yeah,
so
I heard
he's
that he's
probably not back until, my guess is, all in.
Yeah,
Or all out, I guess.
Yeah,
he's pretty banged up, like way more than I thought.
Yeah, his
This is his first serious time off in like 10 years.
His shoulder, like he's
Sports
way
hernia.
banged up right now, and he just had a surgery in the past like week or two, so he's out for already 6 weeks on top of that, and then he wants to get another surgery after that. I do think there's a thread there because they've touched on the Bucks Hangman thing at the end of the pay-per-view even, and Bucks weren't there. So, and unfortunately they had to pump the brakes on the Adam Cole Kenny Omega thing, which I think is probably where they'll go. Obviously Red Dragon will turn on the Bucks and Cole will turn on the Bucks, and then Omega will come in, and then we'll get the 6-man there. And then I'm hearing rumors that once Kenny does come back, that's when they'll put the 6-man tag titles into effect. And then there's no lack of 6-mans.
I think you've got the right steps, but we're not waiting for Kenny.
There's so many trios.
I think with the Bucks though. There's
Hangman. Hangman is reaching out to the Bucks through his gear. He had the tassels and the colors. And last week, I swear to God, he was wearing Christian Dior.
I
like that
I
whole
agree with
gear
Johnny
looked
this
like
time.
something that the Young Bucks shoes were made out of. Like, I mean, he's reaching out to the Bucks, and eventually the Bucks are going to reach back.
Yeah, but you know how Hangman got that made? He just reached out to Eddie Kingston because he still has the Young Bucks shoes.
Maybe, but it's just they're building this up to be not
okay. Is it a demotion for Hangman to focus on a 6-man feud as the world champion, or should he be kept separate above it all?
I don't like this phrase, but separate but equal. Like, he'll be feuding with Cole, and that'll be the program. They'll get the singles matches. You'll get the 6-man tag on Dynamite, but the title match at Double or Nothing is going to be Cole Page 2.
Yeah, the trios match could decide the stipulation or whatever, right?
But see, that's the thing, though. It feels like the 6-man itself is more of a setup rather than you're not going to get a blow off in that 6-man, as opposed.
It's all about when Kenny's actually going to be back, I guess, is the main thing, right?
That's what I mean. Like, Kenny being the piece would mean the 6-man, you could run that as a pay-per-view main event and get a finality out of it.
The only thing that makes me question the booking and makes me kind of go, well, what are you doing here? Is that you had Don Callis at the pay-per-view. Like, to this point, Kenny has been out of sight, out of mind. So he can come back and do the turn, and it'll be a huge face pop. But now you've got Don Callis back in the mix, stirring things up. The Kenny's still, he's still Aviator Shades Kenny. He's still the cleaner. And he's still going to be the bad guy, Kenny, that, we've seen for so long. And I don't, unless we get some weird 3-way 6-man feud when he does come back and re-enter the Bullet Club into the equation, which I think would be freaking interesting. And eventually the Bullet Club feud is going to happen now that, all 3 factions are in North America at once.
Well, and I mean, the Guerrillas of Destiny got kicked out of the Japanese one the other day too.
Well, that's why I say Bullet Club.
Because they did the split there.
Yeah.
I mean, Tanahashi was saving Tamatonga last night, and everyone's like, what the fuck?
Final question here, guys. Simple yes or no, because it's been asked a couple of times by a couple of people here. During Punk's AEW run, which I think it's a 2-year deal he signed. Maybe I'm wrong on that one. do we get Punk versus Kenny Omega at any point?
Eventually, sure.
Yes, we have to. It's
You can't
too big
not.
of a match to. Yeah, it's too big of a match not to do it. Just a matter of when and where, and how, really.
I don't think that they really need it. I don't think it has to happen, but
I think
but
that's
yeah,
a huge,
I mean,
huge line if they do.
it's a big match. It'd be silly for them not to capitalize on that, I guess.
Well, that's gonna do it for us tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Kieran, where can everybody find you, man?
Here,
Get off my lawn.
This is
He's
the
in
only
Sean's
place
basement.
This is the only place I'm
decent.
accessible now. Like I'm trying to not be active on Facebook. I went on Facebook today to delete stuff from Facebook. So, and then
It's true. He even deleted his Tinder.
True.
Jared, where
It
can
was
everybody
doing
find
so
you?
well.
You can find me at Jamie Virtue on Twitter. I run a Facebook page, Dark Match Drive. If one of you could drop that link in the Facebook chat or YouTube chat, that would be great. Yeah, we post news, updates, memes, all sorts of stuff in the entire world of wrestling. It's nonstop. I'm posting like every, half hour. I need a life. It's bad. But also the Facebook page is connected to a Google Drive that I'm running with 5 terabytes of professional wrestling content that is updated daily. I was sitting in class last night uploading the March 21st Pro Wrestling Noah show.
And yet somehow it still doesn't have Rampage from last week.
Okay. I will upload Rampage after this episode airs. Okay, I promise. But yes, check it out. Hit the link. Join the group. Wrestling is amazing. There is nothing else.
That's defunct. They don't exist anymore.
Johnny, you guys got a return date for the Inside Handoff Football podcast?
No.
Alrighty. Well, I suppose that's
We're working on it.
on Twitter. You still on
They
Twitter?
need to get me in on that shit. That's the problem.
I'm okay with that. I just don't want you and Zach to, start crying at each other and the podcast turns into 4 hours.
It'd be gold. We'd
Did you guys
argue
watch what
forever.
happened tonight?
Yeah,
What?
true. Exactly.
Yeah, this would be
Anyway,
short compared to what would happen then.
How about James Conner? 4 hours later.
Anyways, that's going to do it for us. Don't forget to click the like button, help other people find the stream, hit subscribe, click that fucking notification bell. We'll see you next week, everybody. Good night.
Hi guys, this is Terrence, Fandom Empire, and you're watching Fandom Empire Live, which Sean didn't invite me to, so it's probably going to be a piece of shit!